little bit now about advantages, because I know as parents you want to kind of better understand why you feel this is going to serve your children, why it's going to improve the learning experience that they're either currently in or heading towards. So far I've heard, for Brenda, you for example talked about that engagement and learning they go hand in hand, and you believe that this approach improves student engagement. And Paul, you've talked a little bit about the kind of instantaneous feedback or that just-in-time learning and so forth. Can we talk a little bit more about what other advantages that might be there that would support student learning?
Some of the advantages we've seen, of course, is the engagement. The students have to engage in the material rather than sitting sort of passively in class, as well as learning some time management, some self-direction, things like that. Now, for some students, that sort of thing comes naturally, and other students need help with that. So that's where, you know, the classroom teacher becomes very important to help students develop those time management and self-direction skills and strategies. We see that as an advantage because those are skills, regardless of the course content, that are important in terms of becoming individuals who can learn beyond post-secondary, maybe say when those supports are taken away. Restructuring how you use your time rather than the teacher being the one delivering, letting the students construct the knowledge themselves, which I think is an approach that we've tried to do in many classes, whether it be blended or traditional, but looking at things through a new lens has helped us to have those conversations explicitly with the teachers developing the blended courses, which I think is important.
So in addition to the engagement, and I can talk a little bit more about that later, the sort of the proof we have that students are better engaged, I think we've seen maybe a couple of things from the student perspective. One is this ability, sort of picking up on some of the things that Heather said, the ability for the student to be engaged in self-paced learning, so that these online resources, readings and all the other things, activities that they involve, they can do that in their own time, and they like that. And they like being able to rewind something or reread something, particularly with challenging concepts, as opposed to hearing it, you know, one oral presentation in a lecture. They can do that. And so a lot of students have commented on that, the value that they find in that. The other thing from the student perspective is that it's very difficult to keep track of students when you've got, you know, 1,200, 1,800 of them in a course. And you certainly don't know who they are. And students can fall behind, especially in first-year university. And you know, that can be really bad for a first-year student. And we don't know until maybe they write the midterm and they don't write the midterm, or they do really poorly. And that's the first time we have some insight into that a student may be struggling. And what these small group activities have exposed is students who are starting to have issues. And so this was kind of a side effect that we hadn't anticipated. But it's been very beneficial in those very large courses to actually keep track of students better and to intervene earlier.
Some co-workers who are doing a study on why people drop the introductory course. In computer science around the world, the CS1 course has a very high fail-withdraw rate, and we're trying to figure out why. They've got some insights into personality and perseverance and so on, but they haven't shared everything with me yet. But I absolutely agree also about students being able to self-reflect, to be able to assess themselves about whether they can do the material. That happens both in the lecture, when a student is struggling with a problem, doesn't even know where to start, and they see around them the 10 people near them are all busy scribbling and making progress. They get a check right there. It's eye-opening for them that something's going on, and it's probably not the course's fault if everybody else is able to do it. At the end of every week, we have that online exercise, and we can identify very early on students who we allow them to submit as many times as they like. We can see the ones who submit literally 45, 50 times for something that everybody else took 3 tries to get right. And these people are typically the kind of people who just guess until they get it right. And if we can identify them early, then we can pull them aside or send them an email and say, you know, we've noticed And maybe you might want to try this instead. Maybe you want to go and review this material. You're struggling with this particular concept. Here's those video lectures, and here's some supplementary exercises for you to work on. And so this, to me, is one of the biggest benefits of being able to invert the course, is to identify the people who are struggling early on.